Hello, fourth grade readers. It's Mrs. Lamondo, and I'm back to bring you our Fontes and Pinnell mini lesson of the day. So let's get started. Today we're going to combine two mini lessons into one, but you'll see that they go together quite nicely. So let's start out with LA U26 lesson 5. So first we're going to revisit pages 1 through 6 of Ruth and the Green Book. As I read, I want you to think about, what do you notice about the time period in which the family lives? Do you think this family acts and talks like a family that lives at that time would? And if so, what makes you think that? Excuse me. It was a big day at our house when Daddy drove up in our very own automobile, a 1952 Buick. It is the most beautiful color. Daddy calls it sea mist green. He bought it for his new job, but first we planned to go on a trip to visit Grandma in Alabama. I was so excited to travel across the country, I packed my own bag, and Mama said I could take Brown Bear with me for company, even though I'm almost too old for him. As we drove out of Chicago, it felt funny to see the neighborhood disappear and then the streets and the buildings. I love all the green grass and the hills and the trees. Daddy told lots of stories about when he was a boy in Alabama. He made us laugh. Eventually, we stopped and had a picnic lunch that Mama had packed. She'd been cooking all week to get ready for the trip. After driving for a long time, we stopped at a service station to fill up on gas. As Daddy was paying the station attendant, Mama asked for the key to the restroom. The man said we couldn't use the restrooms because they were for whites only. Mama and I had to go in the woods. I was embarrassed, but Mama said the people who should be ashamed of themselves were those service station owners. Right? So I think as we read, you notice that the family acts probably how someone might in that time. When they stop at the gas station, instead of fighting with the gentleman who won't let them use the bathroom based on their race, they simply go in the woods. Someone might behave differently today. Now let's revisit heroes. As I read a few pages, think if Donnie and the other characters act the way people would during that time. Get moving, Donnie, Zach commanded. You're the bad guy. I'm going to hunt you down. No, I'm not, I protested. My dad was in our army. He fought in Italy and France, and my Uncle Yosh was in Korea. No way, said Zach. How could your dad or uncle be in our army? Tori asked. Yeah, Reggie agreed. There wasn't anybody looking like you guys on our side. If you can't prove it, you better start hiding, Donnie. I couldn't prove it, so I had to be the bad guy again. I hated it. Still, it was better than having no friends at all. So here in this story, we can see that this story takes place in about the same time period as Ruth and the Green Book, because they referenced the Korean War, which was a war in America in the 1950s. So we can see that these characters act as if they would in that time. They're talking about current events. Donnie's thinking about his father serving in Italy and France, and his Uncle Yosh in Korea. And the other boys are questioning that. Let's keep going. So today we notice that Ruth and the Green Book takes place in the 1950s, and the characters talk and act like they would during the time period. The family experiences racism because this was before the civil rights movement. In Heroes, we notice that the boys play games and talk about war that just happened in Korea. As you read a fiction book, think about the time period that the story takes place and whether the characters talk and act the way people would during that time. Continuing along with that theme, let's go into LA U26 Lesson 6. So now we're going to revisit pages 7 to 10 in Junkyard Wonders. And as I read, I want you to notice the things that Trisha says and how she acts. Do you know anyone who might act like that in a situation? Let me just see. Okay. Just give me 1 second. I apologize. Okay, here we go. At recess that day, I couldn't wait to ask Tom, why is our class called the Junkyard? Because we are, didn't you notice? All of us are different, you know, odd, like stuff in a junkyard. He turned toward the playground. See that super tall kid over there? That's Jody Beach. He's got some disease that makes him grow too fast. He's my bodyguard. No one picks on me when he's around. He smiled. Over there, that kid, that's Gibby McDonald. He has Tourette's. There's Stuart Bean. He has diabetes. Me, well, I have trouble seeing. They call me Sissy Boy because even so, I love ballet. It's my life. I take ballet too, at least I did in California. I knew there was something I liked about you, Tom said. I felt I had found a soulmate in Tom, and I thought that Jody was nifty. So did I, but it only helped a little. When I got home that night, I told Dad and Grandma about my day. I tried to be brave and not let them know how sad I really was. But just as Dad was tucking me in at bedtime, I finally burst into tears. Oh, Daddy, I've been put in a special class again. It's called the junkyard. The junkyard? What junkyard? My dad asked. That's what everybody calls our class. Darling, my dad said, you are not a quitter. Stick it out for a month. If the class doesn't get better, I promise I'll send you back to California. I didn't tell him that. When I tried to sit with Kay and her friends at lunch, she said junkyard kids couldn't sit at their table. All right, so we heard all about Trisha, right? And she is going through a lot of stuff. And when we think about the characters and heroes, Donnie is also very authentic and believable. To be authentic means showing your true self, right? Donnie kind of goes along with his friends, but internally he's struggling, knowing that good friends wouldn't make fun of him or make him question his worth. So today we were discussing what makes characters authentic and believable, right? Trisha in Junkyard Wonders was very authentic and believable. While she liked the friends that she made at school, she wondered why other people judged her for those that she was drawn to. She struggled internally as well. A lot of us have struggles inside that people don't always see on the outside. When we read about characters like that in books, it makes them authentic and believable. So as you're reading a fiction book today, please think about, are the characters in your book authentic? Are they believable? Or are you reading a different kind of fiction book, something more like fantasy, where the characters are not authentic and believable? Remember today, please make sure that you read for 15 minutes. Also make sure that you complete your reading response. If you have any questions, please direct them to your teacher. Until next time, fourth grade readers, I'll see you then. Bye.